More viewer questions answered. Thank you for asking these questions because I want to know what's important to you. And today we're going to talk about what's the difference between the third, the fourth, the fifth dimension and beyond. No one person has the answer to everything, but I'm going to share with you what I do know. And if this makes sense for you, then you can say, yep, that works for me, and give you some clarity. So let's get ready because you must know there are certain things that must take place to go to higher dimensions. And I'm going to ask you if that's what's happening in your life because you can change anything to go to the higher dimension. I'm going to talk today about why you want to go to a higher dimension. It's really important in this very critical time period on our planet that we do that. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through your fears, live an amazing life. Fear is a lower density. Fear exists. It's part of the collective. You're going to experience it. As a human being in a third dimension, you will experience the third dimension. All right, so let's start with that. What is the third? It is the appears to be a material world, how we know it. So a three dimension is just a two-dimensional world, like a flat piece of paper, with depth. It has a back and a side, up and a down. You can turn it around. 3 dimensions. It appears to be material. We know that it truly is not. But we're playing in that game. So let's talk about the human game, all right? I'm not going to go into what science really is because we just can't wrap our head around it. We have to deal with what we're seeing right now. And hopefully switch your beliefs into something that empowers you. That's what I'm here for. So what happens when we go into the fourth? What's the fourth? Well, I'm going to give you my definition. We're not going to go into the scientific piece because that's really not going to help you from that spiritual wrap your head around kind of explanation. I want to help you understand what's going on here with you when we go to higher dimensions. What's a higher dimension? It's another room in the mansion, right? There are many mansions, right? My father has many mansions. In other words, many dimensions. Do you realize that's what that means? What's a mansion? It's this existence of something out there that's very different from this one, that's different from this one. In other words, you can choose which mansion you go into. And that's a dimension. That's a shift in your reality. Oh, there goes my coffee pot, which reminds me, I'm going to have a sip. Grab your coffee or your tea because we're going to go straight into all of this because it's so important that you understand what's going on with you, where you are in all of this. You want to go to the higher dimension. Hold on. Oh, here we go. So good. Hopefully I don't have... By the way, put a little cinnamon on things. It's good for you. I use organic cinnamon, of course. All right, so let's talk. I have to put this down because you know I use my hands a lot. Hold on. All right, so we're going to talk about fourth dimension. Anything beyond the third dimensional world is when we start to talk about the unseen. Again, scientists out there, please, if you share something very positive, great, I'm open to it. I do watch all of this stuff. I'm not going to go into that space because I want people to understand how they personally can evolve into that space. So there's a lot of, technical things out there that we can go into. And if you guys want that, I will do that. And I'll do more research and share it with you. But right now I want to talk about how you can think of all of this. The fourth dimension is when we go into the unseen world. All right? So think about the higher you go, the more you tap into that which you are not appearing to be. Okay? So the fourth dimension would be when you go into psychic abilities. What's the fourth dimension? Ghosts. Now, I consider ghosts and spirits that are appear to be trapped here, or energy that's here that just repeats itself. I consider that fourth dimension. Why? Because it's still attached somewhat to the material world. Those are people who may not know that they've died, or they're attached to material things and they're out of their body and they're in that other dimension. Still here. Fourth dimension is also when you tap into your psychic abilities and things that are very unexplainable, right? That fourth dimension is really that power that is no longer attached to a physical object. It can be attached to a physical object, but it's not in one. All right? So that is my 101 explanation of the fourth dimension. The reason why I say fourth is when you start to awaken, in other words, awakening is a fourth dimension. That's when you become aware that you are more than this body, all right? So let's talk about fourth dimension. Many of you are in the fourth dimension. Well, everybody on this on this video is most likely in the fourth dimension, unless you're an interloper just looking to badmouth people. And there are people out there, trolls, I call them trolls. They're out like, oh, let's go pick on them, and then they realize I'm not going to post their garbage. So, or YouTube, most of the time it's YouTube doesn't allow the garbage to be posted. I'm talking about those of you who are purposefully here trying to understand it. And you may not believe all that I'm saying. That's cool. You know, this is not for me to dictate something to you. It's for me to open up maybe the possibilities to some things you didn't even think about that feel right to you. Now, what feels right to you now could be something totally different. If you've followed Dolores Cannon, you know I love her. Her books are just so out there. It's like you have to really open your mind. Well, when she first started, she didn't write about these things that were so out there because she personally couldn't just wrap her head around it. She's like, there can't be anything more. And her other beings, which spoke to her through her hypnosis clients, they would speak through them to Dolores, said, oh no, there's much, much more. I love that. There's much more. What else could there be? Because the human mind, a third dimensional brain, can't comprehend that which is beyond what we can even imagine in the material third dimensional world. So that fourth dimension takes you out into that space where you can do some pretty darn amazing stuff in the fourth dimension, right? Fourth dimension, I want you to realize, your dreams, you're always leaving your body. Your spirit never gets tired. It's only the body that gets tired. So what do? You never sleep. You're always, existing. So that's what dreams are. You're going out into this world. Some of it is mixed with your third dimensional fears and thoughts. You bring all that energy with you. So a lot of the things, if you're out of your body, is a reflection. We're going to really get into this. You're going to love this. It's a reflection of your own energy, okay? Everything that's happening to you, that you experience, that is being created, somebody didn't like the word creation. I actually eliminated the word creation years ago in my videos, but I'm going to use it differently. Everything you manifest, create, you can interchange those words because as somebody said to me, you don't create anything, everything exists. It does. For me, creation is when you bring the probability of which everything exists into the material world, you have now manifested it. So if you want to use the word creation, that's what creation means to me. You don't create anything. Everything does already exist. So I do want to clarify that. Everything does exist. So that's why when you're trying to manifest, you think you're having to create something. You don't. You just shift into it. You've seen my teachings. I tell you this. You're not creating, so I have to create it. It just seems like there's all this work that has to be done. That's not what's happening. There's an existing creation already out there, and then you shift into it. All right? So let's talk about that. When you go into dream state, everything that you think, you believe, all your actions, all of this translates into an energy, which is a frequency. And within that frequency, you exist in a dimension that is within that, it resonates with that. So everybody else within that frequency and who is entangled with you, there are many other things that come with this, like agreements in advance of certain lessons you'll learn. I'm going to go in an abusive family, and you're with your parents who agreed to do that so that you could learn forgiveness. And maybe you were the abuser lifetimes ago to them. To see if so let's see if it's so easy for you to forgive. This is what goes on. And so please switch this thinking of ever being a victim. You might have been the biggest jackass walking the planet a few lifetimes ago, and now it's your turn to see if you're all that forgiving. Those of you who judge, you may be have been the drug addict or the murderer or the rapist. You could have been that person. And so now you are here to say, okay, let's see let's see what you can think about that person that you were in another lifetime. And when you were that person, you knew what it was like. You knew the pain you were coming from. You knew the density you were coming from. And that you desired so badly for others to show compassion and love for you because that would have lifted your frequency. So let's see if those out there who are judging can maybe offer that compassion through their thoughts and prayers. You don't have to physically do anything, right? You don't have to love or say it's okay. This is the difference, right? And we're going to go into that. We're going to go into that. I shot a video about this. How do you love somebody else? So you go to a place of compassion, higher frequencies. Every single thing that you do, every thought is a frequency. So when you go to dream state and you go outside of your body, what's happening is all of this energy that you've accumulated, these frequencies, these thoughts and beliefs, that's who you are at that moment. Okay, at that split second. There's no such thing as time, but that's who you are. That's your energy field. So when you go in a dream, this will determine if certain people visit you, if lower beings visit you. And by the way, you could be a super high frequency and have that happen, but you won't be afraid of it anymore. Sometimes they just like to mess with you, but sometimes they're attracted to you because you're in a lower frequency and you're vulnerable. It's not that you deserve anything negative. It's that, ooh, here's somebody with an open, I call it the open door. So high frequencies have open doors too, but that has no power over them, and they know it. So it's not a fearful experience. Lower densities, frequencies, like if you're in fear or anger or victim or depressed or whatever, you're an open gateway because you're vulnerable. And you're afraid of that. So it loves, it's like, well, we're resonating on the same frequency. Come on, let's play. That's all they're doing. I want you to stop thinking that something has power over you. So that third dimension, fourth dimension dream state, when you go into, is a reflection of everything that's going on. So when you go to a higher frequency, you're more likely to get messages and visitations, help, angels, guides, different situations that'll help you because you're ready for it, you're open to it in a higher frequency. So if you have fear, a lot of times you'll have nightmares and all these things that'll happen. So this isn't a golden rule always. You can be in a high frequency and have some bad dreams. You may be picking up on some stuff. I just want you to understand that that energy does go with you when you go into that fourth dimension, dream state. Pay attention to that. So come back and say, why am I still having that dream? I had a huge breakthrough last night. I have a reoccurring dream that is so bizarre. I, for the life of me, could never figure this out. And it has to do with some things that make no sense in the material world. And last night, all the gateways open. So I had the dream in a different type of situation, but the same issues were coming up that I couldn't wrap my head around. And in every one, a gateway open and the situation changed. A gateway open, the situation changed. One of them was there was always this place that I could never find my way out of. And this time, not only did I find my way out of it, we were looking at the numbers, and I'm always with people, a bunch of people. And guess what? And so you guys will probably have an idea what this might mean. I'm always helping people, trying to get out of this maze of things, and we're always getting lost and stuff. And this time, we were looking at the numbers, and I had the numbers. I was the one in possession of them. Somebody gave them to me because, as the group said, oh, that person favors you. And I got this piece of paper with these instructions to get out of this building that was like cray-cray. I saw the number, but they did too. But I knew that that was the right number to get out of that building. So we went down this little stairway. I led everybody out. We got onto this really cool, like small cruise ship because we were going to go on this amazing trip to these islands where we're going to host all kinds of really cool stuff. That's very significant. And a lot of other things happened in there where everything was opening up for me. So that's my journey. It's part of my journey. So if you guys have stories, please share them. That was part of my journey, that there are still things that I have to break through and open up. And it's always helping people get out of this maze and get to this next thing. And so that's a message to me that I am opening those doors, that it's working, that I do have those methods and that information to help. All right, so that was very clear. It's a very clear one. So if you have those recurring dreams, just look at them, even if they're fearful. That's that fourth dimension where all answers, everything exists there, both frightful and both positive. Now, when you go into the fifth, you are no longer struggling with guilt, anger, blame, especially judgment. You cannot. It is impossible for you to go to the fifth dimension with those feelings. If you're having them, you are not going. You cannot. That's the whole game, right? You can't go to the next level unless you achieve this. You have to master this. So you can stay in that fourth dimension where you have spiritual moments and you're feeling good and you're doing good things and you're awakening, but it's like you're still struggling. These are the final things for us to clear out. So the fifth dimension is then, there's no line, but it's another room in the mansion. It's that room up there where you have a beautiful view of the land. And they're serving champagne and food on, silver platters, and everything's beautiful, and the music, and people are dancing in that. And then somebody else is on the floor below that doesn't even know that you exist up there. They're in the same mansion. And they're, maybe they're not getting such great food. There's no music or whatever. And sometimes, they're comfortable. And that's the fourth dimension. So until you resonate with that beautiful place where you stop judging other people, there is no other. There isn't another. That's you. You're looking at yourself. The one is an expression of everything it possibly can be. That's it. That's it. It cannot know its light unless it goes to darkness. And so it blasts out into different expressions so that that individual can experience it as a separate being. Appears to be. It's not really. But if you think you're a separate being, you're going to operate differently. So this is the big challenge, is to recognize that I must open up to love the other, even though I think I'm a separate being. Are you ready for this? Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to love this, because I'm going to work more on that, because people are struggling with that. The biggest sacrifice, the biggest lesson, the biggest breakthrough is to still think that you're separate. And you may know that you're not, but you still feel like you're a separate being because you're a human, so you're still living in the third dimension, is to go into the space of putting somebody else first, loving somebody else, no matter what. Now here's the fourth and fifth dimension. Here's what I want you to understand. And this has to do with the other and judgment, all that other stuff, all counts. Whatever you're thinking and feeling, you're creating. So that place you create in the top of the mansion, you're actually personally manifesting that, because now your thoughts and beliefs are on a higher frequency. So it's not like it's there and you're here and you go into that and here it is. You are actually manifesting it for you. So my floor up there may serve champagne and yours may serve beer or coffee or tea or whatever, right? That's because we are still in control of our individual experience, even when we are outside of these bodies. So even when you transition, this is why some people are greeted by Jesus and somebody's greeted by Allah and somebody's greeted by Buddha. Because they're still taking those beliefs and energies, but they're still, if you're on a high frequency, it doesn't matter. Those are all beautiful prophets. And whatever you think God is, whatever, if you're still on a high frequency, you as a human being believing certain things, it's okay. But if you're at a super high frequency, you're still all using those beliefs in a fifth dimension of love and non-judgment and compassion. So it's irrelevant, who you're clinging to here as your anchor, your rock, your prophet, these amazing energies, prophets, people that came here, and those beyond. You get to choose that. So when you criticize somebody else because they don't believe what you do, you are so freaking not in a fifth dimension. It isn't funny. So get over yourself. Do you think in the universe that what you believe is the ultimate truth? None of us has that. Truth is what it is for you. Somebody said, I like this video because you speak softly in it. And I said, well, so this is that. Thank you for that. But some people love it when I'm emotional and I do my butt kicking. The planet isn't going to operate because of what you personally want. This is right. You should speak softly. You should speak loudly. I love the music in this video. I hate the music in this video. That's the ego. Not having just desires, because we all have our opinions and desires. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you believe that somebody else or the world should operate a certain way because you personally, that's how you think, you are in a lower density. Because if you don't like something, then choose something else. It doesn't mean that is wrong. If somebody believes in Allah and you don't like that, choose something else, but you're not here to criticize them. There's some beautiful, amazing people that have beliefs that you don't, that are on freaking high dimensions. Why? Because what they're really focused on is love and compassion. You've got to let all that go. That is not fifth dimensional thinking. That guilt of, I've done something wrong because the church told you this, or they've done something wrong. What you are thinking, you're creating for your own reality. So I might not be in it. I happen to be in yours. That entanglement happened because you went to a frequency that you required something, you sought it out, boom. And then maybe someday what I'm speaking doesn't really resonate with you anymore. A lot of people they go through different teachers at different times. So maybe you go to somebody else who's speaking something different, right? So I want you to understand there's no right nor wrong. It's what you're just creating, that's all. So your energy in your dreams creates your dreams. It's not something that's just coming to you. You're playing in that field. You're playing in that room, in that mansion. When you go to a fifth dimension, you are because you cannot be judgmental and be in a fifth dimension. Because those up there in the fifth dimension, I always say up there, but there's no up. But let's say up there in the fifth dimension, in that mansion, will not have anything to do with you. That's not the world they create. They didn't create a world of people judging one another. The fifth dimensional people are creating a world where there is total love, and that the things that they do experience are no longer controlling them. They still feel pain and loss. They still feel sadness because we still exist in the third dimension. So until you go out of the third dimensional body permanently, you'll experience the combination of these two. Is this starting to make sense now? But me as an individual, I can't express this enough, me as an individual is completely controlling my personal reality. And you may or may not be a part of that. So that's why when we go in the fifth, people are, is so-and-so going to come with me? Of course they are. They're part of your reality that you've chosen here on the planet. That's purposeful, whether you go in the fifth or not. So you'll still be with them. Even if they don't believe what you do, you still can function in a fifth density, a fifth reality, dimension, and have them in your world, because part of maybe what you're supposed to do is to be totally accepting of them because they're not in the fifth dimension. Because those in the fifth dimension are going to have to see what's out there and not judge it. So you don't go away and life is perfect. You're going to feel beautiful. You're going to feel amazing. You're going to feel the love and compassion instead of the hate. But you're still going to be here unless you decide to transition. That's okay. There's something bigger here. And it's for you to now focus on leaving that world that doesn't work anymore. It has shifted. It will never go back again. And you can cling to that third and the fourth dimension, where the fourth is you're still possibly judging. You're aware, you can meditate, still wanting to win the lottery. The lottery's in the fifth. Everything's in the fifth. This is a higher frequency dimension. There's no need. There's no lack. There's only abundance and compassion, and there's total acceptance. And your actions are going to be completely different than they were in the third, because you're not going to be protecting yourself anymore. You don't need to. By the way, your immune system goes way up. So the Earth is on has reached a 25 hertz frequency, and somebody said it's been as high as 100. It's been as high as 100. Actually, I think it was higher than that. Who knows? The point being, it's just off the freaking charts. So you want your personal body to go to a higher frequency. That's when you're going to have some weird feelings and stuff. Your DNA is kicking in. Those of you are writing me about all this stuff, that electromagnetic field that's going vibrating and stuff, that's real. That is documentable. That is a frequency it's raising. It's affecting your body just like the moon and the sun do. All of this is real stuff. So your body's going to go through some changes. Yay! This is exciting. Some of them are going to be unpleasant, right? You know, it's like, because the body has to make some changes. Go with it. Always do the healthier thing. So does this make sense? I could be in the fifth, you could be in the fifth, and we could have completely different realities, but we're still resonating on a high frequency and doing positive things. And putting others first and knowing that there's no bad person. There's no such thing. There's just a person experiencing lower density. And I'm here on the same planet they're on. So how do we help them? How do we help to stop the Amazon forest from getting decimated? How do we help people from going into trafficking? How do we help to stop polluting our planet? It starts with you. It starts with you. And frequency is the number one thing. Even that physical thing you do doesn't override your frequency. So those of you wondering what's the fourth, what's the fifth, whatever. When you go into fifth, there's no room for anybody that judges. And you're going to have some thoughts. It's how you react to them. Somebody says, negative stuff keeps coming in. It will, because we're participating in a collective. Do not react to it. Don't fight anything. It's going to be with you till the day you leave here. Because you're participating. As long as there's one negative thought out there, you're going to feel it. Because as you go into a higher frequency, you're opening up and you're much more sensitive to what's going on out there, what the collective is feeling. You'll have days where you're like, whoa, and days when you're down and you're like, God, this has nothing to do with my life, it's great. You know, you're like, oh, I must be picking up on maybe there's fear or something happened. Don't try and analyze it. Just watch it, observe it. Okay. Do whatever you need to that day. I go for runs every day. I sit out on my deck and I work out there. If I can't do stuff like this, I write or I create e-courses for you. Don't judge it. Go with it. This is an amazing experience, you know. This is a freaking off-the-charts amazing experience. All right, as usual, you know I'm going to promote, and yes, I'm promoting, not selling. I want you to do what you desire. That's my desire. It's for you to choose what's best for you. This is internet training. This is not my spiritual teachings. If you go into this, you clicked on the wrong one. This is a free workshop, free webinars on how people are getting trained to create online businesses. And we show you any kind of business you want to start. You have no experience required, no tech experience. That's what you learn. It's not difficult, but it will challenge you. This is not like, oh, here, make $1 million. This is not BS stuff. This is real. So this is school. It's an education, not, hey, how quick can I make money? I don't know. You get to choose. You get to choose. You're in control. If you want to blow through this and study your butt off, you can be doing that. You can be earning quickly. But you got to do the work. Nobody's going to do that for you. So if you want to sign up, you can go there. I'm there. I actually work with the students. I don't work for the company. I am not an employee. I'm not a mentor in the company, but I do mentor the students because this is what I do. This is why I came here. And I got to work. By the way, I had somebody visit me and said, basically, why did you come down here to be with us? What? Why did you come down here to be with us? What, am I an alien? Maybe. Wouldn't that be cool? I like the idea of that. I do have memories on other planets. The other thing is, go down in the description. That's another website. This is .net, landriaonkka.net. Down here's landriaonkka.com. And I got classes. Shifting to Miracles is my most popular class right now. It's 3 hours. It's recorded. You can play it for over and over and over for a year. And unlimited, and basic, gives you the steps. We go through a meditation. I talk to you about what's the difference between just manifesting anything and manifesting miracles, because you can do it. You can do it. People are doing it. I have a Miracle Circle membership people are joining, where every 1 to 2 weeks we go into a circle, and every week you get a lesson. What is a miracle versus just manifesting? Because that's when you shift into 5th and go beyond. So 6th and 7th and 8th, and that's when you've transitioned out of your body. And you can do amazing things. 6, you probably could exist here in 6, but probably you're out here. Walking around, people will see you in other places, and your body's still here. People have done that. They're really sort of in and out of their body, and they can perform those kinds of feats. It's pretty cool. Wouldn't you love to do that? Let's get busy. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I love you unconditionally. I might talk really loud sometimes. Get over it. Allow other people to be the individuals they are and express themselves here. It's really cool. Can you love them for that? And if it's not for you, don't hang out with it. Go find your space when and you need it and how you need it. That's why we're all beautiful individuals. Don't ever hold back on that. If you want to do something, we've got artists coming over, learning how to make money with music, art, holistic teachings, coaching. Some people are just promoting products they believe in that aren't even theirs. To help other people understand that there are different choices, different things that we can do to make this a beautiful, perfect world, and it is. Welcome to a new earth, my friend. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I didn't come up with that. That's from the Master Key System. It's healed a lot of people, so it's a powerful statement. Blessings to you, my friend. Peace, light, love, and awakening. Namaste.